Hey guys, welcome back to the official Beast Lab. We're actually on location today. We're here in Westchester, New York at Absolute Training. Their new facility here is a turf facility next door to the gym here in New Rochelle. I'm here with Jacob Zemer, who's quickly becoming a very well-renowned strength coach. Not just a strength coach, but lifestyle coach. Jake, I want to welcome you over to the Beast Lab, man.
Great to see you.
So those of you guys who can tell, when I moved to Westchester, New York in 2016, I walked into an Equinox and I was visibly shaken by how large Jake was. So it's easy to think, oh, he's a bodybuilder or a bodybuilding strength coach. He is way more than that, and we're going to get into that today. Jake, I want you to first just explain who you are,
Sure,
and where you are now and how you got there, man.
Sure. So my name's Jacob Zemer. I come from a town called Portville, New York. It's about population 959. My mom had me when she was 15. First college graduate in my family. Totally stumbled upon Westchester. Didn't even know what Larchmont, New York was. Didn't have any idea what that was in like the stratosphere, social economically or anything. Went to New York. I was working in finance. Hated it. Was not me. I was the guy who was like lifting weights, scaring people, and eating bison, and like didn't fit in at all. I was like evaluating derivatives, and it was not for me. So I had a really good friend. Went through a breakup that was just like really hard on me. I had a really good friend. Went and moved in with him for a little bit. Fortunately, I was like financially secure enough to like kind of figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I stumbled into an Equinox. And I was just like, you know what, I should probably go back to work. I'm really young. So I started working at Equinox, started training people. People had always came up to me and asked me questions about training. I loved it. I was passionate about it. Go back to that small town roots. The only thing to do was to go to a YMCA. So I used to go in there and just crush weights since I was a little kid. Wrestled, whole 9 yards, played sports, loved it. Got more passionate about weight training, especially when I got into college. Always looked the part. Even when I originally moved to the city as a derivatives analyst, did like some fitness modeling and did Nike, some things like that. There's a couple commercials you can find of me on YouTube, whole 9 yards. But I didn't like finance, and I started working at Equinox, and there I found my passion, and I found what actually my talent was. I really quickly became like number one in the club. I think it was like 6 months in. I was like top 100 in the company within a year and a half. And I basically got all the certifications I needed from there, decided to leave, moved to a boutique studio. COVID hit, couldn't train people for a period of time, thought there's gotta be a better way of doing this, and came up with a coaching model. And that's where I am today. I coach over 100 some people from a digital platform. They receive it as texts, but for me it's a digital platform and an omni-channel. I have assistant coaches underneath me. I have a social media person, videographer, admin, whole 9 yards. It's a real business. We keep it lean, but it's a business. And this year I exceeded my business goal by 152%. So I treat it like a business. I'm not some kid trying to figure out my life and training people because I like it. I do this because I'm very good at it. People pay me because I can get them right to the point and know exactly what to do.
Yeah, so give us a little bit of your background from a knowledge standpoint, because like I said, people will look at you and be like, oh, this guy's gonna put me through a bodybuilding workout. But there's just so much more to that.
Yeah, so I would say foundationally, bodybuilding was what I got into. And when I was a kid, I watched, even up to college, I watched a lot of YouTube, which sounds ridiculous, but I really sorted through the kind of content I need. At the same time, I have a bachelor's in science, and so I had to take research methods 1 and 2. And so what ended up happening was I kind of sifted all the way from kind of like, you know, the garbage stuff like Muscle and Fitness and these magazines, and then you kind of go on like T-Nation. And then I got to like find Ben Pakulski or John Meadows and some of these guys. And then I started realizing real researchers like Brad Schoenfield and Alan Aragon. And I was able to read the research papers because they're all basically the same, not the language itself, but how you read a research paper. You look through the methodology, you look at the results, and then you go through and read the introduction and read the whole paper. And so I was really instructed how to read that kind of research and get into it. And so from that, I kind of had an understanding of bodybuilding, and I was always very good at it. I ended up having a girlfriend that wanted to train. I did not want to coach her. She begged me to do it. She became an IFBB pro. People wanted me to start coaching them in bodybuilding, but I was working as a derivatives analyst. I didn't really want to do that. When I left the field, I went to Equinox. So I stumbled into an Equinox as a guy who had a very strong bodybuilding background, and then I went to the exact opposite. Somebody asked me, like, how do you describe Equinox? I'd be like, there's valet parking and they get people to roll around on the ground and pay them a lot of money. It's like, you know, animal flow. I mean, that's what that is. Okay, you're gonna roll around on the ground.
Well, it's really up to you. When you go into a commercial gym, it's really up to you to what kind of results you want to get.
Yes.
Because you have people like yourself or myself who go in there, earphones on, and you can get a good lift
Agreed.
in, or you can get in there and you can talk to people all day and bother everybody.
Great. By the way, I'm not ripping on Equinox at all,
Yeah.
or any of those things. Equinox is amazing and they're incredible.
Yeah.
I got a ton of education from there, but they were very opposite sides of the pole when you talk about bodybuilding,
Sure.
like a hardcore gym versus an Equinox. Somebody like you can go in there and power clean, or somebody like me can deadlift, and we can accomplish the same thing for sure, but their thought process is very different when they're making decisions. But that rounded me out because I got to learn a ton of, I got my NASM, I got my CSCS, I got my CISSN, I got my Exos, I got my TRX, my Viper, my Kettlebell 1, my Kettlebell 2, my prenatal, postnatal, my Animal Flow.
One thing you can definitely say about Equinox is they're big on the education.
Dude, I did.
In-house education is insane. There's
did-
always classes going on in those conference rooms.
I was there 24 months. I did 12 certifications and 10 workshops.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a massive amount of education, and I can't say enough positively about them because I tell people all the time when they come, they're like, hey, Jake, should I go to a boutique studio? I want to be a person. No. Go to Equinox and get the certifications.
Learn, cut your teeth on that.
Cut your teeth. Don't even worry about your paychecks. Like, I know that sounds unrealistic, but I did not have a lot of money. I do not come from money. I came here, I lived in a crappy apartment in Yonkers when I first moved here, like when I was out on my own. So I sometimes would get very rough paychecks, and it was a very rough first year. Second year was but I just spent the money on education because I saw the long game.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an amazing experience for education.
Awesome. So then you left Equinox. What made you decide it was like time to go?
Basically, they were micromanaging me. The middle managers didn't know what to do with me. And I had somebody who was regional who just said to me, listen, this is part of your job. You're going to have to manage your managers. Somebody like you was going to have to do that. And I just got to the point where I didn't want to have to manage my managers. And at the same time, I had got all the education I needed. Like, I finished every certification that I wanted to do, literally everyone. I mean, every single one. I had a list when I started. Like, I wrote out a list of what I wanted to get done, and I got it done. And once I got my last ones on my list were Precision Nutrition and Kettlebell 2. And once I got those, I was like, all right. So I left, I went to a boutique studio. I think I had 24 clients. I was doing around 150 something sessions a month at that time. Put that in perspective for people. A good personal trainer does about 80 to 100 sessions. I was doing 150 at a commercial gym, and I ended up leaving, and I took out of 24, I think I took 21. And I went to the boutique studio, immediately doubled my income, was working there, and then through a couple of other processes, through things like COVID, moved up my number, my percentile off there. I was there for quite a while, and what ended up happening is I couldn't get the guy to come down to the percentile, and I just said, dude, you're taking what would cost me to open up I could get an SBA loan and open up a place myself, and I don't want to be a gym owner. Like, I don't want it at all.
I think every trainer, I think Andrew Apt and I, if you go to the VOD, Andrew Apt and I kind of like touched on this. At some point, every trainer considers it. They think they might want to do that, and then when you actually start understanding what it entails, you're like, it would be way easier to just rent.
Yeah, it's way easier to rent. I mean, and also too, just to be, I mean, I'm to the point where I can't go to people's houses because I have too many. Like, I already saw 14 people today. After I leave you, I think I see like another, I'm here till 2, so I'm seeing another 6 people today.
It's 10 a.m. by the way.
Yeah, I mean, I do
10
a.m. I've seen 40 people. I do so many semi-privates. I mean, I do 60 hours of billable personal training, and not even to be rude, but I think I'm the most expensive personal trainer in Westchester.
You are. You are. I mean, if there's somebody else, I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
But, so tell me right now, COVID was one of those things that we're going to go back, and I say it like it's over, but when it hit in 2020, everybody had to make decisions.
Yeah. I
know for me, my business, I had to make decisions. It ended up being a very positive long-term change. Sometimes you need that kick in the ass to get going. And I feel like COVID was that for a lot of the lucky people who had the ability to change. So for you, you had said COVID hit and you weren't training, right? So what made you make the next move, and what was the next move for you?
So I am by nature a very aggressive person, and I think
that's why we're sitting this far away from
yeah, exactly. By nature, I just am, and like I'm okay with it. Like, some people, like most people will tell you, like I've had friends who are like, Jake has the biggest heart of anybody you know, but they'll also tell you Jake's not nice. Like, and that's a reality. That's like, it just is. Like, when we do stuff, like a lot of times I tell my girlfriend, like, will you talk to the housekeeper? Will you deal with this? Because I came from nothing. I have a very hard time telling somebody something 3 times, 5 times. It's not in my skill set, but I know that, so I just ask somebody else to do
your
it.
weaknesses.
It's not my skill set.
Yeah.
And even why I think I got to where I got is because people don't have to tell me things twice. When somebody asks for something from me, they're going to get it.
Yeah.
They come to me, part of built into that price is because there's no learning curve. I've already achieved it, so I can just hand it off to the next person.
Yeah.
So COVID hit, and for the first time in a long time, Greg, I didn't move right away. My girlfriend at the time was like, hey, let's do this, like tell people to get equipment, start doing Zooms. We can set up in here. I didn't do it. I sat on my butt for the first time in a long. Now, I went to the gym. We had it set up. We had a studio, boutique studio. The mayor gave us permission to use it for personal use. I got in sick shape. I got the most jacked I've ever been in my life. I was like 255, 10%. Like I'm like 240 now. I didn't even want to be that big, but I just was bored.
Well, you had 2 ways you could go during COVID. You could get real fat and out of shape, or you could be jacked. And I think for some of us, we got jacked.
Yeah, I got jacked.
Yeah.
I was like, I look back at pictures and I'm like, I look like I belong to WWE. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But so, you know, that I did not do anything work-wise. And when I came out of it, and it was fine for a month, but then I was like really grinding my teeth. And I said to myself, when I come out of this thing, I am going to attack this thing. Yeah. And so I had a couple clients who were like, Jake, you could be really big on Instagram. Start doing it, please. I think at that time I had 400 followers. I think I posted one time a dog, 2 pictures of my dog.
Yeah, it was like 2 pictures of your dog. I remember that.
Yeah, dude, that was it.
That's adorable.
That's it. And I love my dog. My dog's still my guy, right? So
he's still featured on his profile. He's got his own story.
So that ended up happening. I was like, all right, let's attack. So I got on social media, started figuring out videography. I look back and it's like painful from where we were to where we are now, but like I found a way to keep making the message more succinct. At the same time, a company called Verb came to me, even prior to COVID, and said, hey, we have this app that will allow you to manage multiple coaching clients, and we know you're the guy to get people to lose weight. Have you ever thought about doing it in a scalable fashion? And they came to me originally actually thinking that it was just going to be an automated thing, like a Noon. And I was like, that doesn't work. People lose weight because of me.
Yeah.
Now I say that, guys, but like people do not lose weight just simply because of me. People have to do it all. You're the one who, when you show up in here, you have to lift the weight. You have to be coachable. But
You're channeling them towards what they have to do.
Yeah, and I push people hard. I push people very hard. Like I told someone this the other day. I said, my dad was never there. My mom is a very tough woman, kind of hard to connect with. My long-term college sweetheart, we ended up breaking up. It was heartbreaking. I have no abandonment issues whatsoever. I'm not afraid. You want to leave? Go.
Yeah.
Bye. Boom.
Yeah.
So when I deal with somebody, you want to go? Go.
Yeah.
You're going to do this? Nah. And so that's really, I basically built a business off abandonment issues. I joke around saying, but
but it's true. Like for you, you're so busy now. You can afford to say that.
That's the other thing.
If I'm an up and coming trainer, I got to kind of deal with clients I don't really.
If you even go back to Equinox, that's why I was so successful there.
Yeah.
Because I already had money from being a derivatives analyst. I wasn't set for life, but I wasn't afraid.
Yeah.
Those guys were afraid. When they dealt with clients, they were like, oh.
Yeah.
I never was. I was like, no, you gotta do this. What are you talking about? Stop. Today, I probably yelled at 2 people. I've had people flat out say to me, Jake, if I hadn't lost 30 pounds with you, I would have told you to bleep off by now.
Yeah, but you have, so shut up and do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And even with the coaching, so now we've started doing the coaching. Coaching is now at 105 clients, and basically what I do is I predominantly deal with men. I do have female clients, but I predominantly deal with male clients, and I get them to lose weight. We have a 40% success rate on the platform. I want to give you the statistics on dieting. 92% of diets fail. Yeah. With me, only 60% of them fail. Okay. It's a massive swing. And I know people would like to hear a bigger number than 40%. It's still dieting, Greg. Yeah. It's still hard. It's still getting you to go out to dinner and make smart choices on the menu. It's still getting you to wake up in the morning and start with something like a smoothie. It's still getting you to exercise when you've got kids, when you've got a demanding career. But a 40% success rate in the dieting field is amazing.
It's astounding, because you're not dealing with athletes. You're dealing with people who have regular lives.
I'm dealing with your clientele's parents.
Yep.
So the kid who's training lacrosse, their dad who's got the dad bod,
yep,
because he's taking his kid to all those lacrosse games, because he's working a job in finance or real estate, or he's a business owner, those are my clientele. That's who I'm dealing with every day.
Yeah. And so if I came in and I wanted to work with you, because some people are probably watching this right now going, how's this guy going to train 105 people well? Mm-hmm. You know, explain to them that you're not just sitting in front of the computer for an hour at a time, helping someone go through a workout. Like if I come to you first time ever, and I want to be trained by you. What do you tell me?
Let's go back even one step. When I went to Equinox and I was there, this is when I realized it, because remember, I had a bodybuilding background. And in bodybuilding, you hire coaches. Coaches help you get ready for a bodybuilding show, but they never train you. They're just there talking to you about, this is your macros, this is what you're going to do for cardio this week, this is your prescribed routine, this is your prescribed diet, this is that, right? Okay, so all these bodybuilding coaches have figured out how to get a bunch of bodybuilders, which, to be fair, are like, you know, different demographic than I'm working with. All I did was like, okay, let's take 70% of bodybuilding, the stuff that actually works, and get rid of all the crap. Like, somebody can't do fasted cardio if they're in my demographic, right? Somebody's not gonna not have alcohol, but they can have alcohol, they cannot do fasted cardio and still lose weight. I realized that my clientele, the reason I became so big at Equinox was because I helped them accountable to what they were doing outside of there.
Yes.
So it was a natural progression for me to get in coaching, because a big part of my job already was work I wasn't getting paid for. If you want me to help you with your diet, even if you come in here now, you still have to pay for coaching. You pay for training and coaching on top of it. Because if I have to text you and we're not in here together, other than about a logistic, and I don't even handle logistics, my admin handles logistics about scheduling. If I have to spend any time talking to you outside of here, it's paid.
Yeah.
My time is paid. It's what happens when you have a talent-based business.
Yes.
So when I deal with coaching clients, everything is set up so that day in, day out, I'm contacting them. I have myself and a full-time nutritionist, and we contact everybody every single day.
And it's subscription-based, right?
Subscription. You
Yeah,
sign up
so
for the
it's
month.
covered. Yeah,
And
gotcha.
if you don't want to do it again the next month, don't do it.
Yeah.
If it's not a good fit for us, don't do it. There are people I've kicked off the platform before. I had a gentleman who's been coming in here. He's a great guy. Told me he was down 20 pounds. I was working out with him yesterday, and I looked at him and I go, "We're getting on the scale tomorrow morning." And he goes, "I look bigger." I said, "You do not look like you lost 20 pounds." And we got on this morning. He's lost 20 total so far, but he said he was down 40. And I just was looking at him, I'm like, this is not accurate. Yeah. And we got on the scale, and I said, listen, the only thing you need to understand is that I know. I know when the scale's not going down, I know why. I know why the scale went up on a Monday, and it's down on a Friday, and then it's back up on a Monday. I know by looking at you what you weigh. Just know that I know.
Yeah.
And just also know that I'm not afraid to tell you I know.
Yes. And I think you deal with a higher echelon clientele from an income standpoint.
Yep.
A lot of people who I'm sure, and I dealt with this when I was a trainer, a lot of people who are used to being told yes all the time need somebody to look them in the eyes and tell them the truth.
Yeah.
So they say, I lost 40 pounds. Everybody else in that day be like, yeah, you probably lost 40 pounds. You're sitting there, I know you freaking didn't.
No.
Yeah.
And that's what it is more than anything. I mean, look, sometimes I had another gentleman who came in for the first time with me. They're two brothers. They started up and just had a conversation with one of them. I go, you're losing your hair. Do you want to do something about it? Yeah, I mean, he keeps telling me I should. He pointed to the other brother. I was like, well, do you want to do this thing? I don't care if you do or not. Do you want to? Yeah, I'll go see your guy. I was like, okay, I'll put you in touch with them. Yeah. Right? I mean, it's the same thing. I suggest everybody, if you're over 35 years old, you should be getting your blood work done twice a year. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, everybody knows what HMOs are like in the United States of America. They're not great guys.
Yep.
And they cover that because it's preventative health,
Yeah.
because they're trying to prevent a bigger problem. If you're a grown man and you don't know what your blood pressure is, there's a problem. If you're a grown man and you don't know what your PSA is, there's a problem. So I encourage everybody to go get blood work. If they go get blood work, sometimes somebody comes back to hypogonadal, meaning they have low testosterone. Do you want to take care of this? No. Or maybe they're obese and they say, should we take care of this? Let's get you into normal body fat range. Your testosterone will probably go up. We'll get your labs checked again. Or maybe they're hypogonadal. Maybe they're normal weight. And I say, okay, do you want to go on TRT? That's a conversation I have with them. It's just an adult conversation. Do you want to medically treat this? Yes? No. Okay, great. I don't care. If somebody I had a good client I helped lose 30 pounds. I saw him in person for the first time. I said, blah, blah, you have rosacea. He's like, I know, it's like really bad, right? Yeah, your skin's really red. I was like, do you want to take care of it? He's like, yeah. It's like, and I looked at her the female girl, another client of mine I trained, is right there. And I go, why didn't you tell him this? She's like, I felt bad. I was like, you should feel bad and tell him a BS. I was like, so.
Well, it takes a very definitive type of personality to be able to directly tell people stuff, right? Like some people, I feel like, I go back to the adage of like, if I have something on my face at a party and 800 people for 4 hours didn't tell me, I'm going to go back and kill all of them. Yeah. I need one friend to be like, dude, right here. And then you're good,
dude,
right?
Okay, so I had a barber, and he used to cut my hair. And I said, am I losing my hair? No. Am I losing my girl goes, started dating some, you're losing your hair. I immediately went and go and saw the hair guy. I started a relationship. He's the best in the East Coast. I went and saw him. A spray. Finasteride in a spray. It's not even a pill. The pill can sometimes cause issues. It's a spray. It binds simply to the receptors. My hair's back.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it. $100 a month. Done. Move down with my life. $100, $1,200 a year to save my hair.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Just give me the intel. I'm
Dude, just give me the intel. You're staring right at it.
Yeah, and I can and by the way, maybe I don't want to spend $1,200 a year in my hair.
Yeah.
Fine, if I don't, that's my choice, but at least let me have the choice.
Yeah, put the ball in my court.
Yeah, same thing I tell people when you go get labs. So many guys are scared to go see the doctor. Go see the doctor, put the ball in your court. Like, at least you know. I mean, look, if you had 3 months left, this is a morbid situation, but like horrible situation. Let's say you go to the doctor and you get really, really bad news that you're afraid of. At least you know, so you can spend the next 3 months not working and with your family or doing whatever you love. Or maybe there's a problem and you catch it early. Like you go in there and just had a client and they found out their blood pressure was 140 over 100. Okay, well now we know we need to get you on Lodipine for the meantime, and then we need to work on this situation and get you, like we've already known you need to lose weight, but let's get you on medication in the meantime and then get you off the medication. I mean, we got to keep you alive.
You're like, you're not like a personal trainer. You're like an optimal coach.
That's
like
what
your goal is
coach.
to optimize people.
Performance coach, that's what I call it.
So like, like you said, hair, losing weight, getting in shape. You have stuff on your Instagram where to eat. Mm-hmm. You have stuff on your Instagram where to shop, right? For good clothes. So at what point when you were creating this platform, did you go from, I could be a personal trainer, but like there's so much more shit that people need to know. Like where did that click for you?
I guess I just realized, like even back at Equinox, I was like, this is not how you get people in shape. You get people in shape by eating right. So I would get involved in their diet, and then I would give them a program outside of there. But I was young and I was at Equinox, so I wasn't getting paid for that time. Yeah. Now, even if a good client who comes in twice a week asks me a program, a program, great. And I even actually, it's my programs that I design, and then we shuffle them out and they're on Trainerized. But I charge for that. Yeah. It's charged. Any of my time is charged for. And so I just had this revelation that like what people are really missing is like the other 23 hours of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, even we go into like all that stuff, but I also deal with sleep. I deal a ton with sleep. Are you snoring? Yes. Okay, we need to go see a pulmonary specialist. We go get a sleep study. Okay, sleep study came back, I have mild apnea. Okay, we have mild apnea. Let's go see an ENT. Went to see the ENT. ENT said this. Okay, great, I got a guy for this. I got a guy, say the sleep apnea came back and it was completely inside your mouth. Let's go see, I have a guy in the city, he does what's called a pillar surgery. I had it done myself, prevents you from snoring. I went from mild apnea to no apnea just by spending $3,000 on a surgery. Anybody would do that. No CPAP needed. Let's say you have moderate apnea. We need to lose some weight. In the meantime, you need to go on a CPAP. Let's say you have severe apnea. We need to get you on a CPAP and lose the weight, and maybe you need to be on a CPAP the rest of your life. We just want to get intel about these things. So some point it just clicked that people need help with the other 23 hours of the day. And that's really where I come in. When you come in, Jake Zemer LLC is a consultancy. I consult. And when I tell somebody that they don't want to hear, or maybe they're not going to listen to, I just tell them, I don't care. Like, this is a consultancy. You want to do it? Do it. Don't. Yeah. And most people, because of my demographic, they understand what I'm saying to them, because many of them often give people their opinion because they're an expert in their given field. And sometimes some people don't listen. Like real estate agents will tell a client something, they don't listen. Like, don't listen. Fine, I don't care, dude. Yeah. Like, I tell people even when they come in here, like sometimes I have somebody and I'm getting them to lose weight, but they're not responding to me when I'm asking them on the platform, when I'm trying to get them to move forward on Verb. I'll try to get them to move forward, and I just simply say to them, look, if you don't do this, there's going to be 7 more people signing up.
Yep.
I mean, in the last 3 months of last year, I made more than I made in the first 6 months of last year. And that trend is just going to continue. We're not going down. So if you want to do this with me, let's do it. If you don't, okay, there'll be somebody else.
Not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
And I look at that as a coach when I'm trying to train my face-off guys. I say, look, if you don't want to listen to me, that's totally fine. I'm also training your backup.
Yeah, 100%.
And he's coming. He's coming for you. It's all good.
That's what I love about that is that's why I got into semi-privates. That's why I do primarily now when I train, I have a group of guys in at a time. Because it's the competition, seeing the other one. And then these guys end up doing deals together. I just had 2 guys who did a business deal together. I had a property manager and a plumber, and a commercial plumber, and at the same time, and now they're working together, right? So they get an opportunity to meet other people, like a ton of like Morgan Stanley cats who come in here all at the same time. And it's an opportunity not only for them to connect at that level, but it's also an opportunity for them to connect as like, hey, we're trying to lose this weight together. And then it's an opportunity to sometimes be like, yeah, Jake's a jerk, but we love him.
Yeah.
Because when people moved, when I moved studios, for example, the most recent one, all these people called each other. And they're like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? They're like, I'm going with Jake. I'm going with Jake. So it was a sense of community. And that's the next big thing we're even doing with the coaching. Like I'm building out a platform right now. I'm sitting down to talk to Verb, and I want to build out a completely digital platform where it has all of my coursework on there. Like, hey, where would I go to eat for sushi? How would I eat at sushi? What would I eat if I went to if I go to Carbone, what am I gonna have there? If I go to Catch Steak, what am I gonna order there? And there's videos like that on my Instagram talking about like how you do it. Like, you know, people, why does restaurant food taste better? Because of butter, sugar, and oil, right? People don't understand. They think a 400 calorie steak is 400 calories at a restaurant. It's 1,100 calories, dude. You know,
100%.
like I'm going out to Hinoki in Greenwich tonight, sushi place, can't get enough of it, going with a couple buddies. And like today, one of my meals is getting replaced by Built Bars because it's gonna be 260 calories instead of my normal 500 calories because I'm gonna clear space. So one of my meals is getting replaced by a protein shake. So now I've cleared up 500 calories for my day. And that's just teaching. That's what I'm teaching the clientele is like, look, this is like anything else. It's like a game of margins. It's the same way with money. Like you can buy Starbucks every day and spend, if you say you had your kid, when your boys get older, he's done with college. So you're kind of cutting the cord a little bit. And you're like, dude, if you go to Starbucks every day, you're spending $10 a day. Let's run through how much that is at the end of the year. Or you could put that much into your IRA.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I'm telling people is like, look, when it comes to eating, you can have the avocado. All right, you can have the cheese on there, you can have the cream cheese and the bagel, but do you really want that, or do you want a tequila at the end of the night? Yeah. Or like, do you really want to stare at your wife like a dog, just drooling while she eats chips while you watch a movie together? Or do you want to leave some rooms for the chips at the end of the night with her and just actually enjoy the freaking movie? Yeah. And so as soon as people start understanding that, they'll start losing weight. Yeah. And that's what we get people to do, just to kind of have that aha moment. It's very intensive at first. I have to break people. Like oftentimes, like I'll give you a perfect example, or I just had to break somebody. Somebody came on the platform, did a good job, and she went 150 calories over her TDE, where I put her every day. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know, blah, blah, why are you over calories? Well, I did the stair mill and I burned 800 calories. I was like, you think you burnt 800 calories in an hour? And I was like, do you want me to show you the research behind that? She's like, no, don't bother, I burnt some calories. I said, well, here's the research. Calorie estimators are off by 40 to 80%. Then I sent her a study from Stanford, literally some study. And by the way, it wasn't even the PubMed study. I gave her like kind of a breakdown that was actually on Stanford's website. So it was a little bit more like general pop can read it. Yeah. And I was like, it's 40 to 80%. And I was like, do you want to know what you actually burned on it? And she's like, yeah. I was like, 180 to 240. So you ate 160 to 240. You ate 180 calories and you did 160 to 240 calories. She's probably on the lower side because she's a female and she's smaller. So she's probably now in excess of 20 calories, if you run the math on what I just said. And she goes, that sucks. And I go, we're on the same team here. Yeah. I was like, let's get this done. And I was like, maybe if you include more vegetables in your diet with fiber, you'll be less hungry. Yeah. She's like, I agree. And I just need to go in a couple times and just take a hold.
When you're a strength coach when I was at Penn State, they are supposed to hate you because you're supposed to push them. Yeah. And what I realized is you have to spend that early time, because I didn't realize that at the time when I was becoming a strength coach. When I got in the private sector, that first almost that whole first GPP, you're trying to explain to the person that I'm here to make you better. Like, I want you to be better. This is an adversarial relationship. I know you might think you're supposed to come in and hate me for an hour, but the idea is we're supposed to accomplish this together. And I so desperately want this for you.
Yeah, of course.
And I think, like you said, you come off mean. It's like, because I wake up every morning and I want you to have this so badly
100%.
That sometimes you feel like, if I want this more than you, then we can't work together, because I can't sleep at night. You know, like, I want this for you. So when you're a trainer right now and you have a new client and they come in and they start getting after it with you, if I wanted to have more personal time, because explain to me the subscription-based service, mm-hmm. because most people are like, oh, 3 sessions a week, I'm paying for 3 sessions a week with Jake to work out with them. This is a completely different idea. This is a completely different model. So explain the subscription-based model and why it's so successful for multiple clients.
Because what ends up happening is you get accountability every day. So let's say you see me 3 times a week, mm-hmm. right? So you see me for 3 hours a week. What about the rest of the hours? Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna text me and ask me questions. I do not have bandwidth for that. Yeah. If you pay, I have bandwidth for that, and they will get answered within 12 hours. Yeah. Any question you have for me, anytime. If you ask me a question on Friday night, it's probably gonna get answered Saturday morning, but it's gonna get answered within 12 hours. You can also send me a menu. It's gonna get answered before you go out to dinner. I'm gonna go through that menu with you. I'm also gonna send you, when you sign up, you get a snack guide that I recommend, like a welcome package. You get videos that specifically detail what you're specifically doing for it. And then on top of it, it's just daily accountability. Hey, send me the logs from yesterday. What's wrong with this? Blah, blah, blah. I don't even have to chase after people. Everything's done with auto prompts. They receive an auto prompt like send logs. They send an auto prompt to weigh in. Why don't I do that myself? Because that would be nuts too. That's a waste of my brain power.
Yeah.
Now I don't have to chase people. I can coach them. And then every day they get coached by me. And we just correct the problems that are going on. I love it when it's coupled with seeing me in person, because people need to see the bad guy. It helps them out a lot when they have to see me one-on-one. But going back to what you even just talked about being a coach, I'm thankful for guys like you, because those kids that you're raising, when they get overweight in their 30s, they're gonna contact somebody like me and understand the process.
Yeah.
Most of my clientele are ex-athletes. Almost always I'm dealing with the same thing. I'm 35 to 55. I'm in finance, real estate, business owner, and I'm an ex-athlete.
Yep.
And instantly I'm like, okay, this is a good call. Right?
Yeah.
And I get on those calls, and those guys, they understand that we're doing the same thing, that we're teamed up together, and that we both want this. And if you don't want it, and I tell people flat out, if you don't want it, I don't want it either. And so that day in and day interaction is what allows everybody to be successful, and that's what people need. Now, people might say, hey, you have a lot of people on here. Well, that's why I have somebody who's with me the entire time, but I'm still doing all the brainstorming.
Yeah.
And the truth is, when somebody starts initially, they require a lot of time. Like, I have a couple people this afternoon I have to go through, and I have to headhunt. A lot of other times, people are good to go. We say, well, why would you stay in the program? Because you need the accountability.
Yeah.
And then when you do slip up, which also happens, I have to come in again and be like, yo, what's going on? Like, today I have to go chase 3 people, and I really have to be the bad guy and be like, are we doing this or not? Because I really don't need more than 100 people on this platform.
Yeah.
And I mean that just from a nice way, but like, I want the product to stay really working great. So we want to funnel out the people that just don't have it in them anymore, and keep the people who really want to get after it.
Sure, it's a team.
100%.
You know, it's just like making cuts.
100%.
You know, for you, you made a good point, because I always talked about this. When I was a trainer, it was a shock to the system, because I'd been an athlete my whole life. And even when I was a trainer in the city, I was still playing professional lacrosse.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh my God, it would be so easy to graduate college as an athlete and go 20 years without ever having to sprint as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Like, the idea of you could go like a whole time without ever having to run as hard as you can for a short distance blew my mind.
Yep.
And that's why you come back to alumni games in every sport all over the country, everyone's out of shape. Because of accountability, the word you keep using, because no one's yelling at you to work out, no one's yelling at you to go to practice. That's 3 hours a day as an athlete gone.
Yeah.
And then you're starting to get into those ages where the weight doesn't drop off anymore. So you're like a natural progression as a coach for an athlete who's leaving, because it's like, you can either go to CrossFit, because we had Nikki, we were talking to her about CrossFit. A lot of the people who used to be athletes are attracted to that atmosphere. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, this is a team and they're going to hold me accountable. You're someone who holds somebody accountable in every aspect of their life, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, and a big part of it too, Greg, is like, where it might deviate from CrossFit is this is a little bit, and CrossFit's amazing, and I think it's a great channel for it. This is a little bit more one-on-one, even though you hear like subscription, it's still like, I cap groups at 4 people. Yeah. So it's 4 guys, and it's very designed for them. Somebody might have something going on with their toe, somebody might having something going on with tennis elbow or whatever. It's very customized to them, and even the subscription within that, everything is done around them. I don't give people diets. Like, for example, the gentleman who signed up last night, we're gonna go through today. He's going to start logging today. I told him this afternoon we'll create a prototype for his diet. I'll text him back and forth. We'll create a skeleton for his diet. And then over the next 4 days, as he enters it into an app and like tracks his calories, we're going to refine it. Yeah. And after about 4 days, he'll really have an idea. I just had a text this morning where we refined some guy who signed up with me who's outlandishly successful, like huge real estate mega guy. And we've refined his diet this morning, and we just got to where it's set up. But he has a skeleton. Doesn't mean he can't change, or he's not going to send me a menu when he needs to go out. Like, I have a skeleton for my days. Like, I get meal prep from Green Life. I do 4 meals from there. I have my Built Bars. Like, tonight I'm going to Hinoki, so one of those meals is going away. I'm only going to have 3 Green Life meals. I'm going to have my Built Bars, and then I'm going to have a shake. Pardon me, I'm only going to have 2 meals from Green Life. I'm going to have a shake, and I'm going to have my Built Bars, and then I'm having dinner at Hinoki, so I have extra calories. But I have a skeleton that I use, and the same is true with these. Like, I heard somebody say something recently that drove me absolutely nuts. Somebody put up a post and they go, "I'm the foremost expert in the world at my body." Okay. If I know. Okay. So
hold on to your seat.
Yeah. So let me know what you're gonna do if your heart goes AFib. Okay, doctor? Tell me what you're gonna do. All right? Like, come on. Like, stop. Like, what are you gonna do if you tear your ACL? What are you gonna do, doctor? You're the foremost expert in your. Yeah. It's not. No. Listen. people are not that different from each other. They want to be, but like you lose weight by eating less calories, you gain weight by eating more calories. You're in a caloric surplus. This is scientifically substantiated.
Yeah.
Like, there's no argument in the subject. Like, the people who are saying there's other things behind it are like the same people who are saying global warming isn't occurring. Like, the 94% of the scientific community are consensus on the issue.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So like, it is what it is. Whether you whether you like it or not. And
the old facts don't care about your feelings.
100%. And so for most people, it's very similar. And there's like people all the time will be like, how do you know this stuff? Well, because I have 10 people like you who have the same issue. Like, I know what tennis elbow is 10 seconds into meeting somebody. I know you're lacking thoracic mobility 10 seconds into meeting you. And I'm not even a mobility specialist. I wouldn't even bill myself that way, Greg. Like, I know that when somebody says to me, I'm eating 4,000 calories a day and I can't gain weight. Okay, bro, I eat 4,000 calories a day. Like, you probably don't need 4,000 calories, and there's no way you're actually doing it, you know? So I had a guy actually who was saying to me, some days I eat 6,000 calories and I'm not gaining weight. I had him track it on the app for a month.
Let me guess, 2,500.
Do you know what it actually was? He was in a caloric deficit of 6,000 calories by the end of the month. But there were a couple days, there were like 3-4 days where he ate 6,000 calories. Now, what happens is people attach themselves to that. They get emotionally attached. And basically what I tell people, because I'm dealing with a lot of people in a certain bracket, that I tell them it's like investing. Like, I don't invest my money. I do, but I have, by proxy, I call Keith, here you go, put this money in there, because I can't do it because I would be scared to death, Greg, if I was sitting in front of the computer and I had to buy a stock.
Oh, yeah.
That would terrify me.
No way.
Right? And it's like when some of these people, when they go out to dinner, they're terrified. Or when they go to do a box jump, they're terrified. I just don't have any particular concern about this area or any emotions, but I don't even want to look at like anything accounting based.
No.
Like, I don't want to do this
that's
stuff.
why there's people who get paid for that.
Agreed.
100%.
Agreed. And I think the same thing is true. Like, that's why you hire me. You hire me because you've got some health stuff going on. You've got some physical health and wellness stuff going on, health, wellness, and fitness stuff going on. I come in, swoop in, I give you the answers, and you're good to go.
That's awesome. Now, where can people find you, both on your platform and on social?
Sure. You can go to Jacob Zemer. I'm on Instagram, JACOBZEMER. That's where you'll find me. My Instagram is a channel right there. On the top, there's also a link to the bio. It's jacobzemer.com. That's where everything is. You can find pricing services right on there. Basic coaching is $430 a month. Personal training, semi-private is $125 per person. Groups go up to 4 people. I have some rooms in the semi-private. I am not taking any one-on-ones at this time. If you reach out, you can apply to do one-on-ones, but to be really frank, you'd probably have to be a celebrity or an influencer for me to take a one-on-one at this point. Yeah,
that's because you're successful. We're going to head back. I want to thank Jake for being on here, man. That was a really cool episode. For the regular subscribers, you guys, thanks you very much. Check out the VOD. We got a bunch of other people on there that you can check out. If you're a premium subscriber, I want you to come on back. We're going to do a post game with Jake. We're going to talk about some more fun stuff. Jake, thanks a lot, brother.
You're welcome, bro. You're welcome.